This is kind of intense. It's kind of an intense video. I got a very strong download. I've been getting a very strong code that has been integrating with my soul for a long time, but it started to show itself about 2, 3 months ago, I'd say, a little less than that. And this code is what I'm calling the Lyran Energy Upgrade code. And it's not just coming to people that believe in star seeds and think that our souls have previously incarnated in other star systems and planets and galaxies, etc. It's actually coming to all those who seek truth. And many people in many different religions and many different philosophies, many different ideologies have talked about this, and they've talked about it in different ways. But I'm going to call it the Lyran Energy Upgrade because this is how I perceive it. And I feel like this is the most direct that I can perceive it personally and the best way that I can clarify it personally. So to start, we have to understand why this even matters. So it matters is because it's already happening to you right now. You're already experiencing it. Things aren't the same as they used to be. When you meditate, you don't get the same amount of peace. When you hang out with your friends, you feel a little bit more disconnected maybe than you did before. It's not quite as easy to completely stay in a happy state for extended periods of time. It seems like anytime you get into happiness, it just magically falls apart into this vacuous emptiness. And that's okay. Things are shifting rapidly here on Earth right now. Things are changing at a very fast pace, and it's very hard to keep up with. And I'm on board with you. For the past 2 years, I have been struggling with integration like never before. It just seems like every time I integrate and build something up, it just would fall apart again until recently. And I guess it still feels like that. I just understand it now, so it doesn't affect me negatively like it used to. Still is causing a lot of different emotions and thoughts to flow through me, but it is allowing me to transcend that. And there's something new arising. And this is the Lyran Energy Upgrade. So what happens when the Lyran Energy Upgrade activates in your system, when these codes activate within your DNA, you will be able to be your truest, most authentic self despite what is going on emotionally or in your physical reality. It doesn't matter anymore. You can no longer seek emotions, stability, and gratitude and anything from the external, because the whole external is completely disassembling itself energetically. So you can't bounce back energy with your external reality anymore. You have to find something that is within you that is much more powerful, much more meaningful, much more fulfilling, much more energizing, much clearer, much more fun and engaging than anything that you could ever find in your external reality. And the more you seek that joy, that gratitude, that comfort, that stability in your external reality, the more it will fall apart because the entire 3D reality is collapsing right now. And this is happening on a metaphysical level where literally the energetics of the 3D reality are collapsing. And at some point, there's not really going to be a physical reality. It'll all be moving and flowing energy. But we're starting to see how things that are easier to fall apart than a whole physical reality are falling apart. Political structures, corporate structures, social structures, basically anything that has an unnatural hierarchy is falling apart. Anything that has a hierarchy based on power is falling apart. And people are trying so hard to cling on to these old power structures. And in some parts, it's going to work in tiny ways, but it's all going to fall down. And over the next 10, 15 years, a lot is going to happen. Corporations that you have known that have been around for 50, 100 years are going to fall apart. The idea of going to college and getting a job is going to fall apart. The countries and their systems, the economic systems, the political systems, the infrastructure, it's gonna fall apart. It's not gonna fall apart in some catastrophic apocalyptic event. It's gonna slowly continue deteriorating. Because if you look at all of those structures right now, you look at the economy, you look at corporations, you look at the massive exodus of people leaving their jobs, it's all falling apart. You look at the political systems, it's ridiculous. You look at people that are elected president. You look at people that are in office and the crazy things that start to come out of their mouth. It's because they can't hold it in anymore. They are falling apart too. You can see it in their eyes. They have no clue what's going on. They're trying harder than everyone to keep it together because they're the ones that are supposed to keep it together. But even they can't keep it together. They're falling apart right in front of our eyes. And it's okay. We need to have compassion for people that are falling apart right now, because people that are falling apart right now are going through the same thing that those people that are activating the energy are going through. They're just at an earlier stage of it. And a lot of people are on their spiritual journey right now. And these people are not gaining the same amount of joy, fulfillment, safety, and comfort from their spiritual practice as they were before. Breathwork just isn't hitting. Their use of cannabis or plant medicines just isn't quite getting to the core anymore. Their hearts just aren't able to stay as stable as they were before. And I'm here to tell you that this is a very, very good thing. It's not a bad thing. And it's because all of those old systems were based on the old earth codes, the codes of destruction that are a part of our old reality. And even the way you dealt with those old codes has to go away too, because you don't need to deal with the old codes anymore. So your whole spiritual practice, if not already, is gonna fall apart. And it's not gonna give you the same fulfillment, the same energy as before. And you need to stop chasing it. You need to find a new way. You need to find a way that does not include effort. It does not include pushing, because the pushing is the old earth codes. And these new earth codes that are coming in, the Lyran energy activation, which is part of the new earth codes that are coming in, it's the part that's going to activate and transform the human, are the only way that you can truly get real fulfillment out of spirituality now. And there's no technique, because it's not a technique. It requires you to stop. It requires you to actually be still, not have a stillness practice and a mindfulness practice. There's no more practices. Practices don't work anymore. You just need to stop doing the wrong things, and what's right will shine. You'll naturally be drawn to meditation like you're being magnetized towards it. You don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. and sit and squeeze your third eye until you're still. And then, now I'm present. And now you walk around your day. Now you walk around your day holding this tension in your body. That is not true spirituality. That is not what your authentic self wants to be doing right now. You need to let it go. And that's going to be hard for a lot of people. It's going to make them suffer, because they've been holding on to these spiritual practices and these communities and all these things like a little baby blanket. And they don't want to let it go because it's so scary without it. Because now they have to feel like they're their old self again. Well, guess what? You've always been the same self. And that's the self you need to start facing now. There's no more hiding, even in spiritual practices. You can't hide anymore. Who you are is who you are. And that is coming up, and you have to face it. You don't have to do anything to face it. You have to stop avoiding it. There's nothing to do about it. You just have to stop running from it. And naturally, you'll go through a natural inner evolution that'll bring you to a point where you are so much more powerful, so much more grateful, so much more happy, so much more childlike, so much more innocent than you ever were, even as a child. I'm going to give you a history of why this is happening. And for some of you, this might not resonate. You might think, what the hell is this? And that's okay. You don't have to. But I recommend you listen and just hear me out. But you don't have to take this as fact, because I don't know if it's fact. This is just information that has arised, I don't know, through me. And to me, I know it is true. So basically what happened, and this is documented in many, many religious and philosophical texts in ancient times too. Let's crack open the water. I need it right now. This is documented. They use different words, but it's documented. So basically this group of beings that we could call the Anunnaki, they were a very powerful race of beings, you could say, but they're higher than, they're non-physical, basically deities in a way. And they're what the Bible refers to as the fallen angels. And they came to Earth, they came to Gaia, which was a beautiful paradise. It was a perfect place. It was perfectly harmonious, so beautiful, more beautiful than it is today, because it was untouched by these fallen beings with their fallen angel codes, their destruction codes. Because that's what they do. These fallen angels, they forgot that they are innocent, loving beings that are connected to the One. And they think that they can never get back to that place. So what they do is they constantly try to pass on their disease, their destruction codes to other beings, because when they can pass them on, then they can harvest the innocence and the light that comes from these perfect beings, or at the time perfect, and they can sustain themselves for longer. So these fallen beings came to Earth, and they brought this other race of beings that had already begun to be corrupted. And this race is called the Lyrans. They're humanoid type creatures. Our whole genetic system is based on their genetic system, basically. It's just modified even more so that we are less liberated than them and less able to tap into our spiritual self. So this race of beings, the Lyrans, had very, very advanced geneticists. And these advanced geneticists were able to create different species. So the Anunnaki basically enslaved and forced these Lyran geneticists to invent a DNA code that would allow human beings, this new species that was based on the Lyran DNA, they would allow this new species to I just got a vision of like people that I know hearing this and watching this and going, what the hell is he saying? So these Lyran geneticists did what they were told. They encoded, basically, they created humankind as a slave race to the Anunnaki. They basically made an entryway in the DNA so that the Anunnaki could very easily puppeteer humans, a lot easier than they could puppeteer other beings. These other beings were more conscious, more aware, so they had to submit to these higher beings after a lot of torture and pain in order for them to be controlled. But the thing about human beings is we were so able to become unconscious because of these destruction codes that we are very easily puppeteered, and we are very easily abused and controlled, so that we would just give up all of our light, so that we generate light through enjoying ourselves, through having families, through having enjoyable experiences. We grow our light, and then we suffer, and that's these Anunnaki beings and other beings taking our light away from us and basically leaving us with just what we were built in, which is the destruction codes. So basically, we were the perfect harvestable Lyran species, or we were the perfect harvestable race to harvest light from. And that's what humans were designed to be. But actually, there's a twist. The Lyran Geneticists were very, very intelligent, and they encoded the Lyran Energy Upgrade into our DNA secretly, because it was disguised as it was hidden deep within all of the other destruction codes, the codes of suffering, the codes of pain, the codes of everything that you see, disease, death, all the stuff that sucks about Earth. Hidden within that was this perfect code that allowed the DNA to remain dormant until a certain event started to happen, until there was so much suffering and so much confusion and so much disarray that these humans would split and open their unconsciousness, and the code would begin to activate. But until then, it would remain hidden, and it would not be detectable by these Anunnaki beings until it was already too late. And that is what's occurring right now, is it's already too late for them to continue enslaving us. It's already too late for humankind to remain suppressed in this corporate aristocracy, and also in a higher level in the realms of consistent circular death and reincarnation without knowledge, which is what we're stuck in. It's why we only live up to around 100 years, and other beings in the universe live hundreds, if not thousands of years. And they're able to learn secrets of the universe before they go through a death process consciously, and then they take their codes onward to the next life. But because we have such a short life cycle, we're not able to continue our codes forwards. So we end up staying in cycles of unconsciousness, and therefore enslaved and giving away our energy for dozens and dozens of lifetimes, for thousands of years. We've been doing this. So basically, this Lyran Energy Upgrade is an intergalactic DNA code that was placed into our DNA to completely liberate us and to make us into a much higher level of being than had ever been seen before in the physical reality. There's never been a being that is capable of as much destruction and pain or as much light and power as the human beings. The human beings are more capable of the whole spectrum than anyone. And the Anunnaki just saw how we were so capable of death and destruction, and they loved that, and they kept us in cycles. But the Lyrans implanted this small code into us, and this is what is being asked to activate in you now. It's being asked to activate in you now. I'm asking it to activate in you now. And your higher self is. All your soul brothers and sisters, your entire soul family, they're all asking it to activate now. And you don't have to worry, because I know you've been worrying, because everything seems like it's falling apart, but it's not. It's splitting apart so that this code can fully activate. And what's going to happen is Gaia is at a split where there's going to be different realities that go off from Gaia. The one that you are most likely on, if you're understanding and resonating with this video, where Gaia becomes the most liberated physical planet in the entire existence and entire eternity. And beings that are here during this time and activate these codes will basically skip ahead and jump out of the entire wheel of samsara and go completely into light. And we'll become these highest level beings. And this doesn't happen in our lifetime. It begins to happen during our life, but it mainly happens after our death. But during our life is where the transformation process occurs. And this is why you might be struggling a lot right now, is because you cannot hold on to anything anymore. The only thing is this light code that is activating in your spine that is going to support your heart, your mind, and your soul, and your physical body. Because you cannot support it any longer through energetic attachments to other people or energetic attachments to concepts in your mind about how you want your life to go and how you really want to accomplish this and you really want to do that and you really want these people to treat you this way and you really want everyone to love you. No, none of that is going to give you what you're actually looking for. None of it. You can have it all, though. You can have a dream life on the outside. You can have all the perfect people in your life. You can have it all, but it's not going to be the thing that gives you satisfaction. It's not going to be the thing that gives you peace. It's not going to be the thing that gives you gratitude and happiness. That is only going to come from beyond. It's going to come through this code. This code connects us directly to the universal mind, connects us directly to the divine, connects us directly to our inner oneness and our truest innocence. It's where we become kids again, where we become little children. But in that, we are not weak like children are here on earth. We are so much more powerful than any being that has been dampened. Because that's what happened. We didn't grow up. We were dampened. We were dampened by this world. And now, as we reactivate, we go back up to the state we were originally in and we were tapped into as kids. One of the main downloads I'm getting from this is don't stay stuck in the rat race of trying to accomplish goals as they are now, where you just want to, start an amazing business or, get this awesome job at a corporation or learn this certain skill that applies only to like computers or something. We are being called to learn our ancestral skills. We are being called to remember how to grow our own food. We're being called how to remember how to be with one another in complete presence and understanding. We're being called to remember how to make clothes. We're being called how to remember how to build houses and how to do construction. Not every single person's called to all of these things, but you'll feel something within you. For me, I know I'm supposed to remember how to grow my own food and I think work on my own clothes. But other people are being called to remember how to build and remember how to create from nature. Remember how to create a fire. We have lost so much intelligence. We think because we have this little phone in our hand where we can Google stuff that we really know stuff. But if you got thrown out into nature, you'd be screwed. So to me, I don't think that is very intelligent. My friend David and I were talking about this, and he was telling me, he's like, we don't even know what those birds are above us. We don't even know what they do, where they go. We don't know anything about them. That is another level of ignorance that our ancestors wouldn't have tolerated. We don't even know where to find food in the forest. We don't even know how to hunt. We don't know how to do these simple things where if we went into some hunter-gatherer tribe, we would be looked at as idiots. And it's true. We've lost so much of our truest and meaningful intelligence because we think that the internet and learning and knowing knowledge up here is like going to save us and that is what's important, but it's not. We need to remember our ancestral skills. But this doesn't have to be a fearful thing like, oh no, I have to grow food so that I don't go hungry. No, play, enjoy, it's fun. Make a garden, start learning how to sew, learning how to knit, learning how to build. Just start learning this stuff. There's no immediate urgency that you're going to need to use it to protect your life or your family's life, but just know them. It's just good to know this stuff. So work on building your ancestral skills. And also your interpersonal skills, because your interpersonal skills will always be valuable. Because humans are social creatures and we will always work together, whether we're building a house or whether we're helping someone release an old earth code and purge it from their body and release the codes of sadness and death and destruction and disease from their body. We're always going to need to know how to help people with this stuff. Not every single person, right? This is one of my callings, is to help people purge the old earth codes of destruction and call in this brand new, fresh, and at the same time, extremely ancient energy that is arising within you already, and learn how to live from it in a way that even in the old earth society, you can still function, but especially when things shift big time into new earth energy, you'll be able to survive and function, and you'll be able to enjoy yourself and be abundant and have a beautiful, beautiful life. And this is not meant to scare anyone. There's nothing fearful about this because it's all a guided process. And basically every being in the universe, higher and lower, is watching Earth right now. And there are so many higher beings that are connected to you and are helping you with this right now. So ask for assistance with things you're going through right now. Don't leave things up to just yourself. You're not alone. You don't have to go through this transition alone. You have so many light beings that are around you at all times that are sending love into your heart and are asking and hoping that you will turn to them and give them permission to help you even more. So give permission to your angels, give permission to your guides and your higher self to assist you in any way. Let's say that with me right now. I give permission to the holy angels, to my spirit guides, to my higher self, to my ancestors that serve love, to serve me and help me in any way that they can. I give permission to the Most High to intervene into my life and redirect me to the places that I need to go. Because remember, lower beings operate on removing consent and free will. They just want to take things from you. But higher beings operate on the principles of free will and consent. So they can't even help you without consent. They can indirectly create an environment for you to thrive, but they can't directly help you at your core, which is where you do need the most help. So give them permission to help activate the Lyran energy codes. Just say that. I give the higher beings permission to help me activate the Lyran energy codes. And just see what happens, even if you're skeptical, even if you don't understand fully what I'm talking about. Just give permission and see what happens. See what happens. Let's end with a quick prayer. Thank you to the Most High. Thank you to the infinite loving awareness. Thank you to the Divine Mother. Thank you to Mother Gaia. Thank you to the holy archangels, the holy angels. Thank you to my guides. Thank you to the ascended masters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please assist us and guide us in any way that you can. Please help us see the truth of the reality we live in. Please help us see the truth of our lives. Please help us see the truth of why we are here right now. And please help show us that everything's okay and that we are guided and that we're not alone.